Mississippi, 1857. They buried Josiah Reed alive, and his master laughed while the dirt covered the coffin. Before they sealed the grave, Silas Mercer dropped a signed freedom paper onto his chest, then said the same words he always said to the dead. "You're free now." Then he nailed the coffin shut. Everyone walked away, except the dog. Boone didn't move. He stayed on that fresh mound of dirt, eyes locked on the ground, like he could still hear something underneath. For 3 days, he didn't eat, didn't drink, didn't sleep. On the second night, he started digging. Not like a dog chasing something, not like instinct, like he knew someone was still down there. His paws split open, blood mixed with the dirt. Still, he didn't stop. By the third day, people stopped going near the tree. They said the dog had gone mad. They said something under that ground was calling him. Silas Mercer thought it was funny. He brought guests to watch, pointed at Boone, and laughed. "Look at that," he said, "even the animal doesn't understand he's gone." On the fourth morning, everything changed. The ground shifted, just slightly. Then again, Boone froze, ears forward, body tense. And then, the dirt split open. A hand burst through the soil. Not bones, not decay, a living hand, covered in blood, and mud, and broken nails. Boone lunged forward, grabbed the wrist, and pulled. The earth collapsed inward. More dirt fell away. A head emerged, eyes wide, gasping, choking on soil. Josiah Reed dragged himself out of his own grave. 6 feet down, locked in a coffin, buried for 3 days. And still alive. In his hand, he was still holding the paper. The one that said, he was free. No one spoke. No one moved.
Because every person standing there knew one thing. This was not supposed to happen. And once something like this happens, you don't get your world back the way it was. Silas Mercer stepped forward slowly, lantern shaking in his hand, face pale for the first time in his life. "You were dead," he whispered. Josiah didn't answer. He just looked at him. And in that silence, something shifted, not just in one man, not just in one moment, in the entire plantation. Josiah shouldn't have been breathing. 3 days underground, no air, no light, no way out. And yet, he stood there, mud dripping from his face, chest heaving, eyes not the same anymore. Not the eyes of a man who just survived. The eyes of a man who saw something and brought it back with him. Boone stayed pressed against his leg, low growl vibrating in his chest. Not at Josiah. At Silas. Silas Mercer swallowed hard. For the first time, he stepped back. That had never happened before. Not once. He tightened his grip on the lantern, trying to steady his hands, trying to steady himself. "You don't walk out of a grave," he said. "You hear me? You don't come back from that." Josiah slowly raised his hand. The paper crumpled in his grip, stained with dirt and something darker. He opened it, held it up. "Freedom. Signed, sealed. Undeniable. You gave me this." His voice came out dry, cracked, like something pulled from deep underground. Silas shook his head, too fast, too hard. "I gave that to a corpse. You're not free. You're mine." Silence. Then one voice, from the back. Low, careful. "But he ain't dead." Every head turned. Old Moses stepped forward, hands trembling, but he didn't stop. "That paper's legal. Seal's real. You can't own a free man." The air changed. You could feel it. like a storm about to break. Silas looked around. At the workers, at their faces. Something was different. They weren't looking down anymore. They were watching him. Measuring him. Waiting. And that scared him more than anything else. "Get a shovel," Silas snapped. No one moved. "I said, get a shovel." Still nothing. Boone stepped forward. Just one step. But it was enough. A deep growl rolled out of him. Low, steady, final. Silas froze. His eyes locked on the dog. Then back to Josiah. Then to the crowd. Too many eyes. Too many witnesses. He lowered the lantern, just slightly. That was all it took. The moment broke. And once it breaks, it never goes back. Josiah took a step forward. Then another. Nobody stopped him. Not the overseer. Not the men. Not even Silas. He walked past them. Slow, unsteady. But walking. Alive. Free. Boone followed at his side. And behind them, the plantation stood silent. Because everyone knew they had just seen something impossible. And impossible things change everything. That night, no one slept. Not in the cabins, not in the fields, not even in the big house. Because something felt wrong. Not just strange, wrong. Like the world had shifted, just slightly out of place. Josiah lay on a wooden cot, eyes open, staring at the ceiling. Every breath hurt, his chest burned, his throat tasted like dirt. But that wasn't what kept him awake. It was the silence. Boone sat beside the bed. Not sleeping, not moving. Watching. Not Josiah. The door. Like something might come through it. Or already had. Boone. Josiah's voice barely came out. The dog didn't look at him. Didn't respond. Just kept staring. Then, a sound. Soft. Slow. Scrape. Josiah froze. Scrape. Scrape. Like fingernails on wood. Coming from outside. No. Not outside. Underneath. Josiah sat up. Pain shot through his ribs. He ignored it. "Do you hear that?" No one answered. The other men in the cabin were pretending to sleep. No one wanted to acknowledge it. Because if you acknowledged it, it became real. Scrape. Closer now. Boone stood up, slowly, every muscle tight. A low growl built in his throat. Not loud. Controlled. Like a warning. Josiah swung his legs off the cot. The floor was cold. Damp. Too damp. He looked down. Mud. Fresh mud. Tracking across the floor. Leading. From the door. To his bed. Josiah stopped breathing. "That's not." His voice failed. Because he knew. That wasn't there before. Boone snapped his head toward the corner of the room. Dark. Still. Empty. But the dog saw something. He stepped in front of Josiah. Blocking him. The growl got deeper. He bared his teeth. And then, the sound stopped. Just like that. Gone. Silence flooded the room. Heavy. Pressing. The kind of silence that isn't empty. It's watching. Josiah didn't move. Didn't speak. Didn't breathe. Because deep down, he understood something. Something cold. Something certain. He didn't come back alone. And whatever followed him out of that grave was still here. Silas Mercer didn't believe in ghosts. Not spirits. Not curses. Not anything he couldn't control. But that night, control slipped. He locked his study door. Checked the windows, twice. Poured himself a drink, then another. Told himself it was nothing, just a man who got lucky. Just a dog that dug too deep, that's all. That's all it had to be. He sat at his desk, hands still shaking. And that's when he saw it.
The seal. His seal. Sitting in the middle of the desk. Surrounded by melted wax. Fresh, still warm. Silas froze. He hadn't used it, not tonight. He hadn't even touched it. Slowly, he reached out. His fingers hovered over the wax, then pulled back. Like it might burn him. Because something was wrong. There was no candle lit, no fire. Nothing that could have melted it. And yet, it was still soft. Still moving. Like it had just been pressed. Silas stood up. Chairs scraping loudly behind him. No. No, no, no. He backed away from the desk. Then he saw the paper, blank, but stamped. His seal. Perfect, centered. Fresh. He grabbed it, turned it over. Nothing written, just the seal. Like a promise, or a warning. Silas rushed to the door, unlocked it. Flung it open. Who did this? His voice echoed through the house. No answer. Only silence. The kind that presses in on you, watching, waiting. The next morning, there was another paper. This time on the dining table, same seal, same fresh wax. No candle, no explanation. By the third night, they were everywhere.
On the stairs. In the hallway. Even inside his bedroom. Silas stopped sleeping. Every time he closed his eyes, he heard it. Scrape. 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 Under the floorboards, like something digging. Closer. Closer. Every night. He started drinking more. Yelling more. Beating anyone who looked at him too long. But it didn't stop. Nothing stopped it. One night, he woke up screaming. Said someone was in the room. Standing at the foot of his bed. Holding a paper. Showing it to him. Over. And over. And over again. You're free now. Because you're dead. His own words. Thrown back at him. Twisted. Mocking. By morning, Silas Mercer was no longer in control. And whatever had come out of that grave was just getting started. The fire started just before dawn. No warning. No lightning. No reason. Flames burst from the windows, like the house was burning from the inside out. People ran, shouted, carried water that did nothing. Because this wasn't a fire you could stop. Silas Mercer stumbled out onto the porch, his clothes half burned, face black with soot. Eyes gone. Not blind. Worse. Empty. Like something inside him had been hollowed out. It's in there, he whispered. It won't let me out. He looked at the burning house, then started laughing. Not normal laughter. Broken. Cracked. Wrong. They keep showing me. The dirt. The coffin. I can't breathe. I can't breathe. He clawed at his chest. Fell to his knees. And no one went near him. Because everyone knew. This wasn't fear anymore. This was punishment. At the edge of the trees, Josiah stood watching. Boone beside him. Silent. Still. He didn't move closer. Didn't speak. He just watched. As the man who buried him alive slowly broke apart. Then, Josiah saw it. Near the fig tree. A shape. Tall. Still. Too still. Like it didn't belong to the world of the living. It didn't move. Didn't breathe. But it was watching. watching the fire, watching Silas, watching everything. Boone growled, low, but not in fear. Recognition. The figure lifted its arm, pointed, not at Silas, at Josiah. Then, it vanished. Gone. Like it had never been there. Josiah stepped back, heart pounding. He didn't understand. But deep down, he felt it. Something had ended. The fire died by noon. Nothing left but ash. And silence. Silas Mercer was found later that day. Still breathing, but gone. Mind shattered. Whispering the same words, over, and over, and over again. I'm still in the ground. Let me out. I can't breathe. He died 2 weeks later. Never made sense again. And on the land he once owned, something changed. The chains were gone. The people were free. All of them. No contracts. No conditions. Just gone. Like the land itself had decided. Enough was enough. Josiah never went back. He didn't need to. Because whatever happened there, it wasn't his to control. It never was. He just survived it. Boone walked beside him. Always. Same as before. Only now, they were both free. Years later, people still talked about that place. The tree that wouldn't die. The ground that never healed. The sound of digging. Late at night. Soft. Steady. Like something remembering. Because some things don't stay buried. Some debts don't disappear. And some stories refuse to die. All it takes is someone who refuses to stop digging.